Hey moms, welcome to this webinar. My name is Mariam Sanuth. I am the founder and CEO of Breastfeeding NG. Breastfeeding NG is a company entirely dedicated towards creating positive breastfeeding experience for moms here in Nigeria. So we're dedicated towards helping you and supporting you on your breastfeeding journey. In this webinar, I'm going to teach you how you can make more milk. End of story. No fancy information. I just want to teach you how to make more breast milk for your baby. That's it. I am a certified breastfeeding specialist. I know it sounds fancy, but it's really not. It just means that I have specific education to be able to support you in your breastfeeding journey. I'm also a clinical pharmacist, or you can also call me a legal drug dealer. My work has been featured on several international and local platforms like BBC Africa and Lagos Television Network. I am super excited to host you in this webinar, and I hope that this webinar will change your breastfeeding journey for good. So in this webinar, I'm going to teach you 3 major mistakes that you're making that are affecting your milk supply. 3 things that you're currently doing right now that is making you not have the milk supply of your dreams. 3 things that you're going to start to do right now to help you to achieve the milk supply that you have always wished for. And then 2 products that you can start to use right now that is also going to help you to achieve that. Now, let's get right into it. So the first thing I said I was going to teach you was 3 major mistakes that you're making right now that is affecting your milk supply. So the number 1 thing is you're not breastfeeding enough. I know it sounds like, what do you mean I'm not breastfeeding enough? The reason I'm not breastfeeding is because I have a low milk supply. Yes, I know, but then your body doesn't understand that. So if you're not breastfeeding enough, if you are giving more of a breast milk substitute, formula, if you're giving more formula than of breast milk, it just tells your body that, you know what, I don't need this thing. So your body gets the message that it needs to stop milk production. Let me break that down for you. So breast milk is not like it's not like a tap. Your breast is not like a tap that you can just turn on and turn off anytime you want and you're sure that water is going to come out of it. That's not how it works. Your body actually has a system of production. So whatever you demand from it is what your body supplies. So that's why you hear a lot of breastfeeding specialists say things like breastfeed on demand. So that's where that demand comes from. Whatever you demand from your body is what your body will give out. So if you're breastfeeding 1 to 3 times a day, for example, you're not going to be able to produce enough milk because your body is only going to produce the much that you're removing from it. So think of your breast like an ice maker, for example. Whatever you put in it is what is going to come out. So whatever you demand from your body is what your body is going to produce. Now, the second mistake that you're making, this one is tough. Don't judge me. I feel like you guys are going to judge me. The second thing is you're not breastfeeding at night. I know that sleepless nights are something that a lot of moms struggle with. But if you're not breastfeeding at night, then you're very, very likely going to have a milk supply. I know the nighttime is when we want to substitute with formula because we've heard that formula helps babies sleep longer, or it's the time when you want to give express milk to grandma or someone who is staying with you who is going to help you to feed the baby. But if you're not breastfeeding at night, it's going to affect your supply during the day as well. Like I said, your breast is not a tap, so it's not going to come on and turn off anytime you feel like. Now, the third thing that you are most likely doing wrongly that is affecting your supply is that you're probably on a contraceptive that is affecting your supply. So those are the 3 major mistakes that a lot of moms make that are affecting their supply. Number 1 is that you're not breastfeeding often. Number 2 is that you're not breastfeeding at night. And number 3 is that your choice of contraception is affecting your supply. So those are the 3 top things those are the 3 major mistakes that a lot of moms make that affect their milk supply. So let's get right to why you're here. You want to know how you can make more milk. Okay. So number 1, you need to breastfeed or pump more often. There's no magic to it. You have to do it. You have to breastfeed or you have to pump more often. So let me use a realistic scenario for you. I've worked with several moms with a low milk supply. And one thing they always start off with is, oh, my milk didn't come in when I had my baby, and so they started him on formula. And after they started him on formula, my milk came in on maybe the 5th or 6th day, but my baby was never satisfied. Every time I'll give him breast milk, I have to start off with formula. And they continue to do that. They get tired and they're like, "Oh, you know what, since it's getting filled up on formula, let me just continue with the formula." And very soon you're giving formula like more than half of the day. So for like 10 hours he's taking formula. Maybe he's breastfeeding just once or twice during the day. And I've said it, at night it's just easier to mix up the formula and give up. So a lot of moms, especially during the first 3 months, which is the critical period where your supply is actually being established. So you can see that there's a vicious cycle. It starts with your milk not coming in early because you have not received proper education, because that lag phase is actually normal, and you're supposed to continue to put the baby to breast to stimulate your body to produce more milk. But because a lot of moms don't have the right information, that doesn't happen. So their milk is delayed to like the 6th or 7th day, and they have started formula before that. The formula continues because the milk supply, mom feels like the milk isn't sufficient for the baby, because when she breastfeeds and she takes the baby off the breast, the baby is crying. That's another matter, because babies crying is a form of communication. It doesn't always mean hungry. It could be something else. But mom isn't sure about her breastfeeding capability. She can't see her breast. She doesn't know how much milk she's producing. She says she presses and nothing is coming out. And so she continues to give formula. So you can see that it's a cycle. You're giving more of the formula and less of the milk, and your body the message that your body is receiving is, you don't need this, so I need to stop it. It's just like someone who, God forbid, gives birth and the baby dies. Your body would start to produce milk at first, but then realizes that there is no baby. No one is using up that milk, so it's going to stop the production. That's exactly what's happening when you start to give formula first, and then you're breastfeeding less and less. Which is why I said the number one thing that you need to increase your milk supply is to start to breastfeed more often. Now, I am not saying that you should stop formula abruptly, especially if you're on like 70% formula and maybe 30% breast milk. No, that's not what I'm saying. What you can do is to start to dial down on formula, so you can start to reduce it gradually. What I usually advise moms to do is, after a bottle of formula or in the middle of it, so if your baby takes 120 ml of formula, for example, you can start with 60 ml and then bring the baby to breast. If the baby seems fussy and she's still hungry, finish up with formula and then bring the baby to breast. Remember, your supply isn't all that, so your baby isn't going to get overfilled. What we need is for your baby to stimulate your breast, so your body gets the message that it needs to produce more milk. So the number of times you stimulate your breast is actually more important than the length of time that you breastfeed. So what I'm trying to say is, the number of times you feed at the breast is more important than the time taken. So for example, a mom who feeds 12 times a day and a mom who feeds twice a day for 1 hour, the mom who feeds 12 times a day for 1 minute would actually get better results than the mom who feeds 1 hour for twice a day. So the frequency, the number of times you are breastfeeding is very, very important. So that's the first thing you need to do. So you can offer the breast after the formula. So give 120 ml. Like I said in the example, I was saying that if your baby was taking 120 ml, you can start by either giving 60 first, give the breast. If the baby still seems fussy, finish it up and then put her back to the breast. Or you can give her the whole 120 and then offer the breast to the baby afterwards. Remember, the goal is to stimulate your breast as often as possible, and eventually, if you continue to do this, because it takes time, trying to increase your supply is an uphill journey. It's not something that is going to happen overnight. It's not possible. It doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you need to continue to work at several times a day. If you are consistent and persistent, you will definitely get the results. So that's what I want you to start to do immediately. Start to put the baby to breast more often than you were. So offer after the formula, bring the baby to breast and continue to do that. It may seem like nothing is happening for 3-4 days, but I promise you, if you do this for a week, you'll find that your baby wants to stay at the breast longer, and then your supply has actually increased. So that's number one. Now, okay, so let me also add that if you are pumping and you're not doing direct breastfeeding, the same applies. So I know that it can be very distressing if you're pumping and only a few drops comes out. But if you continue to do it more frequently every day, you definitely get results. So continue to pump, disregard how much is coming out. Just be focused on the goal. Trust in your body to actually do what it does best. Your body understands the message. You're sending a message to your body that it needs to produce more milk. So just continue to send the message. Your body gets it. Don't worry. Continue to do it. Don't focus on how much you're producing each time. Just continue to do it. Like I said, give yourself up to a week. By 1 week, your supply is definitely going to increase. So just keep at it. So the second thing that you need to do is to breastfeed at night. There's no two ways about it. Let me tell you why breastfeeding at night is very, very important. Now, breastfeeding is regulated by hormones. I'm sure most of us have heard this before. 2 hormones are responsible for breast milk production, or for regulating breast milk. Let me put it that way. There's prolactin and then there's oxytocin. Prolactin is responsible for milk production, and oxytocin is responsible for milk release. And you need both of them for a successful breastfeeding journey. Luckily, your brain knows what to do. Your brain actually releases these hormones into your blood and they know what to do. Your body knows what to do. So I'm not saying that you need to go and look for oxytocin and prolactin in drugs. No, that's not what I'm saying. Just trust your body. Now, prolactin, your brain releases the most prolactin at night between around 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. So if you're not breastfeeding at this time, when the hormone responsible for milk production is at its peak, your body is going to sense that, you know what, okay, if this person is not using it when it's at the highest, she probably doesn't need it when it's low as well. And that's why during the day, you may find that your supply is also reducing. So if you're not breastfeeding at night, and this is why you hear a lot of moms say things like, oh, I slept and woke up and the bed was soaked with breast milk. Or I slept and woke up and I was so engorged. It's because the hormone responsible for milk production is actually at its peak. It's at the highest level through the night between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. If you're a pumping mom, this time is critical to improve your supply during the day. This is the time that you should actually pump, because you most likely find that you most likely get the most milk at this time. So you need to breastfeed at night. There's no two ways about it. One thing that you can do that can make it easier for you is to breastfeed sideline. So you can breastfeed your baby, on the bed, and then if your baby's in a crib, you can put her back. If your baby sleeps with you, then it's even easier for you. So you just, whip out the boob and feed the baby, and that's it. Your baby is also she's probably not going to be as alert as someone who has to go back to the crib. So it may be easier for you. But you need to breastfeed at night. There's no two ways about it. If you're looking at improving your supply, breastfeed at night. Now the third tip is skin to skin. I know skin to skin is not something that we talk about so much, especially in this part of the world, but it's essential, very, very essential. I don't know if anyone has ever noticed, if you have a pet, like a cat or a dog or something, when they give birth, you would notice that the mom and her baby, let's say a cat, for example. I don't like dogs, but I think I can manage cats. So let me use cats for an example. So you will find that she's licking her kitten all over. She's rubbing her body off she's rubbing her body on her baby's body. There's a lot of contact, there's a lot of cuddling, there's a lot of warmth. This is very essential to breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is a biological process. It's like an extension of pregnancy. You know, when you were pregnant, you were connected to your baby through his umbilical cord. Think of breastfeeding as the umbilical cord outside of your body. So anything that brings you and your child closer would help breastfeeding. Skin to skin is basically you placing your baby skin to skin with your baby. So you remove her clothes, you can leave her diaper on, and place her on your chest. This is something that you would even find soothing and enjoying. I know a lot of moms say that babies like to sleep in their positions for longer. So some of my clients that have recommended it to say that, oh, the baby slept way longer when we tried that. Or she herself, or the mom herself was able to sleep a bit, or she felt relaxed, because studies have actually shown that it helps with breast milk hormones, the oxytocin and the prolactin that I mentioned before. So skin to skin is very, very helpful with increasing your supply. So you want to ensure that you're doing it as often as possible. It doesn't have to take so long, 5 to 10 minutes of skin to skin, 3 times a day, it's fine. You just want your baby to feel as comfortable around you as possible. You want him to feel attached to the breast. And this is even helpful for moms with babies who don't want to take the breast, because I know that's another challenge that a lot of moms go through. So skin to skin can help to bring your baby back to the breast. You know, he would familiarize himself back with his habitat. Remember I said that think of the breast as the umbilical cord that connects you to your baby outside of pregnancy. Now that's the third thing. The fourth thing is, remember I said the third top mistake that a lot of moms make is their choice of contraception. So family planning is great, but moms need to be informed that your choice of family planning can actually impact your supply. So there are majorly 2 types of contraception. There's the hormonal and then there's the non-hormonal. The culprit here is the hormonal contraception, and unfortunately it's actually the most popular kind of contraception. So I'm talking about the pills, the combined oral contraceptives that you use for 30 days. The pills that they use for 30 days. There's also the emergency contraception post-tenor. There's the IUD, the one that you insert into the womb. There's the implant that you insert into the forearm. If the choice of your contraception is hormonal, you need to be informed that it can actually impact your supply. A lot of moms actually suffer from this. It's something that we need to start talking about more in the medical community. Whatever choice it is, the hormonal type have 2 types. There's the progestin only and the combined progestin and estrogen type of hormonal control. Just know that so far as long as you're going for the hormonal type of birth control, it can negatively impact your supply. What I would say is start with the pills, because the ones where you insert into the forearm or the ones you insert into the womb, they are long acting. And even after you remove them, there's a washout period that can be long. You can have the effects can remain for a while after you remove them. So the reason I'm saying you should start with the pill is because it's easily reversible. If you start to use the pill and you notice that your supply is reducing, then you know that this is not a contraception, or you can decide. It's not up to me to decide for you. So you have to weigh the benefits and the risk. How important is breastfeeding to you? Is it something that you can live with? Because it may mean that you will never have it may mean that you may never have a full milk supply and that you have to supplement. So the choice is up to you and your family, but it's something that moms should be informed of. Your choice of contraception, so long as it is hormonal, can affect your milk supply. So if you are looking at having a full milk supply and you want to you want to make a choice for family planning or contraception, then you know that you need to discuss with your doctor, your gynecologist, and say that you want a non-hormonal option. You can, in Lagos State here, you can walk into any health center and talk to, they have family planning clinics. So you can go there and talk to the nurses there and say that, oh, what are your options for non-hormonal contraception? And they would educate you and you can make a better and informed choice. So that's another thing. Ensure that you're using a non-hormonal contraception. Now, the last tip for increasing your milk supply is galactogogues. What are galactogogues? Galactogogues are foods or herbals that contain ingredients that can increase your milk supply. So some moms will say things like, oh, I ate yam yesterday and my boobs were engorged. Or, oh, I ate amala and gbegiri or something. Or my mother-in-law made this pepper soup for me and immediately I took it. Oh my God, I was begging my baby to suck. So I know we all have traditional meals here in Nigeria that our grandmoms, our moms, have passed on through their tradition that have helped to increase your milk supply. Now, those things are called galactogogues. So things like pap, things like I said, amala. Some people say amala helps. Some people mention tiger nut. Some people mention oats. There are different kinds of galactogogues. They work in different ways. But more commonly, a lot of moms are using things like lactation cookies, lactation granola, lactation hot chocolate, lemonade. And I'm sure you're familiar with them because at Breastfeeding NG, we have those. Now, they can support your milk supply along with the previous tips that I've shared. How these things work is that they either increase prolactin. Remember I said prolactin is responsible for milk production. They either increase prolactin in your blood or they help with oxytocin, which is responsible for milk release. So you need both. I said those two are important with breastfeeding. And that's how there are different types, there are different ways they work. Use whatever you're comfortable with. Galactogogues can also help to improve your milk supply. Okay, so the final part of this webinar, I said I was going to recommend products that you can use to increase your supply. The first thing I'm going to recommend is a breast pump. So I'm not recommending any named brand, but ensure that if you're looking at increasing your supply, you need to have a very good and durable breast pump. I usually recommend moms to get an electric breast pump, double electric. So it's less stressful and it's easier for you to use. Now, the second thing I'm going to also recommend, obviously, are breastfeeding energy products. Remember I said galactogogues help with milk supply. And as you all know, we've been supporting breastfeeding moms, helping them make more milk for almost 3 years now. So far, we've helped over 5,000 moms produce more milk. So you need them. They're products that can help you to improve your milk supply. Now, those are the two products that I recommend that you should get right now if you're looking at improving your milk supply. If you enjoyed this webinar, please leave a comment below or send us a DM. We are at Breastfeeding NG on all social platforms, or you can send me a personal message on my personal page at The Lactation Specialist, as pronounced, at The Lactation Specialist. See you guys later.